have a little bit of visual with this context and with this conversation. So if you do not know who I am, my name is Cassandra McCoy. I'm a women's health athletic trainer here in Oklahoma, and I am a yoga instructor. I've been in the fitness industry for almost a decade. My undergraduate is in health education, so that's where this comes into play. Plus my master's graduate degree is in athletic training itself. I specialize in pre and postnatal patients, but I also dabble in across the women's health dimensions landscape. So really, I'm just all about things health and wellness, and I'm just so thankful to be able to share this with you today. So why does it matter? Why do all the different dimensions matter? Really, I started focusing on this in my own life a couple of years ago, and then also had to revisit it just a couple months ago and kind of relive it and revive it in my own life. And why it matters is because a lot of times we can have what looks like the perfect, right? Like it's that perfect job, you have a stable home, your health is either improving or it's awesome. You've graduated maybe with your high school degree or your undergraduate degree or your master's degree, or you have a full-time job and you're thriving. Maybe you're in tech school and you just graduated and you're doing great. You have a bunch of great friends. You're learning new things. You're making good money. So what is going on? Well, a lot of times we find that whenever we have, all these good things going on, we get really, really caught up in all those good things. And that's what we're supposed to do, right? But there's this thing that happens where we start to realize that we're not very happy. At least that's what happened for me. And what happened was I got so caught up in having this perfect job, really trying to, improve my health, having good friends, but just thriving in the, okay, we got to make money. We got to be secure. We got to have an environment that's healthy for my child. We got to have a good job. I have to always make sure that that's going well. And I was working 60, 65 hours a week with all my collective positions. And I realized, okay, this is not the balance that I like to advocate for my patients and my clients. So I had to turn the mirror on myself, and maybe you can relate with that story a little bit, where you turn that mirror on yourself and you're like, oh, I got to get to work. I need to find all these different dimensions and see what's going on, see what's working, see what's not, and go from there. So let's just cover what are the dimensions of health. We covered them during our series, The Dimensions of Health During the Quarantine, but I just want to highlight what the whole list is right here. And you can read them on the screen. There's physical, mental, environmental, social, intellectual, financial, spiritual, and occupational. Now, these are not all the dimensions. And you're like, what? I thought that you just said that they are. Well, they are, but they aren't. Because if you think about physical health, we could also talk about sexual health, especially as women. It's paramount. But what I do in this approach is we definitely cover sexual health in physical health. And then instead of also having emotional health, we put that under mental health as well, because they're tied in together. And we find that if we do that, we're able to better integrate it into a functional practice in your everyday lives. And then we don't have umpteen dimensions that we're overwhelmed with. But this is a good starting point for all of us. 8 dimensions that we can just cover and work on and analyze and improve and thrive under. So let's just start with physical health. Really, it's the most popular, right? Whenever you think about health, you think about diet and exercise, you think about illness, you think about disease, you think about injury, you think about sleep, you think about stress, all those things. And you're exactly right. Physical health, it's usually something that I start with my patients, and that's where we kind of dive into, and then we kind of tease out some other factors that might be in their lives as well. Some of the potential benefits of having good physical health is lowered risk of type 2 diabetes, breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, and so much more. Physical health is huge. Without physical health, you are not thriving as a living organism, right? You're not thriving as a human being, and that's what I want you to be able to do. So as we look at physical health, that's one of the things that, especially in our programs, that we kind of incorporate every single module, if you want to call it that, every single month, just because it is so popular and it is so constant. And every single other dimension thrives off of physical health and vice versa. So it's a paramount one that we need to focus on. Mental health. So I gave you the textbook definition right here, and I give you some fun graphics on the side, but we all have heard the different statistics on women's health and mental health. And really, they're kind of staggering. I'm going to give you some stats later on in a form that I'll provide you guys in a link. But it's, I don't want to say it's sad, but it is really unfortunate, the multiple women who suffer from anxiety, who suffer from depression, and who suffer from other mental health concerns. I am a part of that, and I have overcome, and I have worked on, and I still work on my mental health. And I'm sure that you can relate to that as well. Mental health is something that affects so many other dimensions of our health and other people's health as well. So it's one that we need to really, really cover and analyze, especially in today's society, because mental health is going to be a huge struggle as we return back to our everyday lives that might not be so everyday normal as it used to be. So let's chat about environmental health. This is one that a lot of people don't really consider as much, maybe in the way that we're going to discuss it, but it's paramount to your overall health. It affects your physical health in so many ways, as does mental health, but so does environmental health. You have the American Public Health Association definition right there for you to read, but a few things that I want to focus on are, I have this infographic for you right over here, little tips and tricks that you can optimize your environmental health, but I want you to understand that where you are and what's around you affects you. It affects you in all the different ways, all the different dimensions, and it really, really affects how you thrive as a human. It helps you with your mood. It helps you with your emotional health, mental health. It helps you with your physical health because you need good, clean air around you. You need to be using the right utensils, the right containers. And it's something that can really, really, really enhance your health if you are looking to really optimize your overall well-being. And I mean, these are just a couple tips and tricks that I put right there, but it's so much more, and it can mean so much more to you and your life if you kind of turn your sights towards this environmental health and start enhancing that dimension. Social health. Social health. Right now, it's been a little different, right? We're in the stage of COVID quarantine, and that's okay. We're starting to open things back up, and we're realizing how important our social health is to our well-being, our overall us. I put a picture of friends on here because you got to think about what if they were in social isolation away from each other. I'm pretty sure that that whole cafe would burn down. I mean, what would happen? But social health is just so important to us having a thriving and transformative and empowering livelihood and experience. You think about social health, and a lot of us think about, going and hanging out with friends. But one thing that I always like to highlight in every single talk that I give is social health is so much more than just having friends. It's about having quality friends, about having quality relationships. So whenever we're thinking about how to optimize and enhance our social health, we start to dive into interpersonal relationships, maybe even our relationship with ourselves. Oh, that's a good one right there. Maybe even our relationship, how we foster those relationships, how we grow our relationships, and how we help our relationships flourish. I kind of think of it like a plant. You plant a seed and you water it a little bit, right? You wait for it to start going. You see that little sprout, you're like, oh yes, I didn't kill it. It's going strong. We're good. And then you forget to water it for a few days, and you start to know that those leaves are kind of drooping and they're looking a little sad. So you add a little bit of water on there, right? You just kind of give it a little bit of love, and then you move on throughout your day. Maybe you forgot to set it out in the sunlight, and then it really starts to look bad. And if you don't give it some love, give it some sunlight, give it some nutrients, give it some water, it's not going to look too good. It might still kind of be there, but it's not going to look too good. It's not going to be a thriving, living thing. Same thing goes with our social health. We have to give it a little bit of love. We have to give it a little bit of nurturing. We have to give it a little bit of sunlight in order for it to be a quality social health dimension. All right, intellectual health. Intellectual dimension, it's a fun one to dive into, because even you watching this webinar right now, this is stimulating your intellectual health. It's enhancing your intellectual health. And in order to, I love this definition. Like, usually I don't like to read the definitions, but it's the person's ability to think critically, question his surroundings, pay attention to current events, and develop creative ways to adapt to unexpected obstacles. So whenever we're looking at our intellectual health and maybe relating it to the other dimensions, which I love to do, maybe we're having some struggles with our mental health or our physical health. Like, how do we enhance this? How do we fix or optimize these dimensions that we're lacking in? And one of the main things that I like to do is point towards intellectual health. Well, what are you interested in? Are you interested in weightlifting? Are you interested in going outside more? Are you interested in gardening? Are you interested, do you just want to stay inside? Is there any way that we could bring some activity into your house? They all play off of each other, because then you're going to be stimulating your intellectual health by figuring out these new ways. Or maybe it's learning a new language, developing a new cooking style. I mean, there's so many opportunities in order to enhance and stimulate and optimize and grow our intellectual health. It's a fun dimension to dive into. Financial health, especially right now, my goodness, this one's huge. And we don't like to talk about money, especially if you're in the location that I'm in, but it's necessary, especially as women. This gives us so much power. If we can optimize our financial health and understand it, oh my goodness, ladies, that's huge. A lot of us might not have been taught how to budget. What's a 401k? What's going on? Do I need to know about the stock market, or is just out there? Who's Freddie, who's Mac, right? What if we could understand a little bit more about how to apply these words that we've heard and how we can relate it to our own lives and maximize our financial health, and how that could affect all the different dimensions in our health? Think about how, if we have a flourishing financial health, if we start to cultivate that and stimulate that health, how it can just enhance our environmental health, how it can enhance our physical health. It's not supposed to be a taboo subject to tackle. It is a game changer, and it is a wonderful one to learn and grow on and just cultivate every so often, which is what we like to do. We, in the integration, which we'll discuss later, it's like, if you talk to different financial advisors, they're there to help you, and they're not judging you, and neither are the dimension coaches. We're here to help you. It's more about, oh my goodness, look at how much opportunity we have to grow. Look at our health and how many ways we could just help it flourish. And especially with the resources that we offer, it doesn't feel overwhelming. It's more about, oh my goodness, this is exciting. Look at what I can do. Look at how I'm being empowered, and the knowledge that I have, that I can move forward successfully. All right, so spiritual health. I come out this one a little bit differently. I'm an Oklahoma girl. I was raised Baptist. But whenever I look at spiritual health and I talk with clients and patients about spiritual health, I kind of pull back the curtain. And instead of focusing on, religions and things of that nature, which tie into it and enhance your spiritual health significantly, I kind of pull back and talk about, how have you been connecting to your purpose? Have you been connecting to your strength? Have you been going outside and just getting grounded in what it is? that is out there that is greater than you? Have you been going outside and just staring outside and being like, wow, look at all that is around me? Because a lot of times, especially now that we've been stuck indoors and by ourselves, we kind of get a little turned inwards and we're just like, oh no, look at all the things that like I've done wrong or that people are going all against me, and oh, it just kind of gets heavy. And I find that if we focus on our spiritual health and we kind of look at the things bigger than us and the things that are just connecting us all and bringing us back to our purpose of why we're here, that's where the magic happens for our spiritual health. And being able to cultivate in many different ways, it's a game changer that can affect your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, your social health even. It's a great one just to look at and see if you're in a right place there, or do we need to change a few things? Is there priorities that we need to shift? Is there, mindsets that we need to enhance or cultivate to help enhance our spiritual health? All right, so let's go on to occupational health. This one is huge right now as well, but it is no matter what. Things have changed. Occupational health looks a lot different than it did just a couple months ago, and it will forever look that way. I have a feeling that occupational health is changing. We have more people who are working from home. We have more people who are going into business for themselves. And I work with a lot of women, specifically fitness instructors, helping kind of mentor them in business and how their life occupational health looks like. And I can say for certainty there is a change in how it looks and how it's going to function. And a lot of people, maybe even you, might be struggling with how to manage that. Because it's going to look different. And if a lot of us were kind of like, oh no, do I like this? Do I not like this? I don't think I like this. What am I going to do? And that's okay. If you're a deer in the headlight right now, I understand. But your occupation is an essential part of your health. And instead of getting stuck like a deer in the headlights, it's a good idea to take a step back and look at what it is about your occupational health or your job that you like. It's a good idea to take a step back, and here's my tip right here, looking at it more than just your job, looking at if it's something that we need to change about how you do your job. Now, if we need to change your job or you need to work on your job, then that's a whole nother conversation that we can totally have. But if we're working in this job that we have right now, we need to take a step back and look at how our job is going, how we do things, what we do. Like, what are the different tasks that we're doing? Is it underneath our job title or not? Is it underneath our description or not? Are we okay with what we're doing? Are we doing it correctly? And that goes into the how. How are we doing our job? This could be ergonomics. This could be organization. This could be prioritize. This could be financially, are we charging enough? Are we optimizing our packages that way? It's all these different components that we need to look in at. When are we working? Occupational health is huge with us. A lot of our shift workers, things are changing there. Is that going to serve you? Is that something that we can change or that you would like to change? Is that something that we can't change and that we need to optimize our health to fit that shift appropriately? I mean, we can work towards that. You can set up yourself for a healthy occupational health, even if you're in a different shift that you're not used to. It's just something that you need to consider. And then also, where? Are you at home now? Are you in a different position than you were before? Are you in a different state? Are you in a different department? How is that working for you? What is this location that you're in right now? Is that serving you? Is it something that you need to kind of step back and reanalyze for yourself? Or is it something that you need to kind of tease out and be like, okay, this is good. How can I help enhance this now? Because it's not all about the bad, it's about enhancing the good. And so occupational health is something that I'm really passionate about, because I think that whenever you do cultivate a good occupational health, it will help all the different other dimensions of your health. And you will see your passions and your position grow, thrive, and just enhance overall. All right, so I gave you a bunch of stuff. These health dimensions, how do we use them? How do we use them to optimize our life? Do we just tackle them all at once and go like, oh my goodness, what in the world? No. And that's what Positively Balanced is really all about. It's all about looking at different things, taking the time to consider, but not get overwhelmed with all the gunk, because there's a lot of gunk out there. But just taking our time to, take a month, look at our financial health, be considerate of it, be mindful of it. Even growing in mindfulness of your specific dimension will help to enhance it. And with Positively Balanced, we kind of develop a hierarchy of your needs, of the different dimensions that really need your attention, maybe our attention if you're working with a dimensional coach. It's enhancing your overall health piece by piece that actually in turn affects the whole. So what is it gonna look like? It's gonna be person specific. It's gonna look different for you than it was for me. And it's a continual work. I wish that it was a one and done, but we kind of live for 100+ years. So it's obviously going to take multiple trips around the sun for us to figure everything out. And you'll work through these things. You'll think about what's going well, what's lacking, what can you work on? And then what will you work on that will actually affect another dimension? And you might not even know the answer to that one right now, and that's okay. Action item for you today is just to write down the different dimensions. And I'll list them after this in the comments below for you guys, but I want you to just list them all down and just take a gander, like from what I've described, what are things that came to mind during this that you're like, okay, I need to start this. And that's one that I need to work on. Like I might not know how, but I know I need to work on this one. Because even just that, taking the actionable step matters. The times that we live in today, health is changing. We used to think, okay, I need this latest diet and exercise tip. I need this latest keto diet. I have to get this ab roller with the spiky things and everything because that's going to make me healthy. That's not the case. As we saw with COVID and with so many other things going on in the world, it's so much more than just diet and exercise. It's your environment. It's your social health, which is a big one right now. It's our occupational health. It's our mental health. There's all these different components that go in to make us who we are and help us thrive. And so as you look at these dimensions, I really, really want you to take that into consideration and how you can utilize these to optimize your health in your life. I really, really just hope that you will just dive right in. Like, just do that action item that I told you to. Begin with the ones that you start on. Like, pick one that you start and you're like, that's the one that I'm going to work on. And check out some of the other talks that we've had on here because we kind of the other contributors dove into different aspects of the health dimensions that might give you some tips and tricks that you can utilize. And then also, I would invite you to jump into our women's health dimensions integration that I mentioned a couple times. It's where we basically discuss one dimension a month, and I give you several different resources just for you and the others in your community so you can enhance each dimension as we go through. And then, of course, at the end in January, we really launch them all together and we just dive into our fully optimized health. So as you can see on here, it will be starting in June. Registration starts today. I will link up our landing page later on, but I invite you. I would love to have you in this group. This group is actually going to be one of those where we grow together. There's a few health dimensions coaches who are going to be assisting me in this integration. And we're excited to see how you guys want to flourish and how we can help you optimize your health. And we're going to be asking you, what are the problems that you are seeing in your life? And we'll be discussing with you and building our model according to what you need. And so it's a really personalized approach, and we hope that you will join us. It's going to be, for this dimension launch, we're just offering it only exclusively to the Positively Balanced Women's group members. So you guys are the only ones who have access to this, because we believe in you guys and we want to support you and your health. And it makes me super excited to talk about this, just because I know so many lives will be changed by this approach. I know it's changed my life and other women's lives that I've worked with, and I just can't wait to see the results from you guys. As a bonus gift from me to you, and only for your ears only, the Midwest Getaway will be happening in 2021. And whenever you sign up for the Women's Health Integration, you get a free one-day pass to our full day of speakers, workshops, and workouts. That's for your ears only. So you guys, if you sign up for this, you will get that free pass. And I hope that if that just incentivizes you to join us, that's just because I want to see how your lives are re-optimized and continue to thrive. So if you have any questions for me, I'm going to check my phone. Please let me know. Thanks for letting me present this to you and share my passion with you. I really, really appreciate it. And on this Friday afternoon, if there's anything else that I can do for you, if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, let's stop this for a second. Alrighty, you guys. So if there's anything else that I can do for you, please let me know. And I love each and every one of you. Please be safe, stay well, and we look forward to hearing from you.